Mr. Chairman, we are the last line of defense. I do thank you for calling this hearing, because there's some chairmen that wouldn't have called it.
That's true.
And I mean that. They wouldn't have called it, but you did. And finally, I want to say a special thank you to the many residents of Flint, Michigan, who traveled all the way here to Washington, D.C. to attend today's hearing. And to you, we thank you. And Reverend Sharpton, I thank you for being here. I welcome you all, and I thank you so much. I believe that we have a moral obligation to conduct a comprehensive investigation of this crisis. And let's be abundantly clear, it is a crisis. We need to determine how children in the United States of America in the year of 2016 have been exposed to drinking water poisoned with lead, and not by accident, by the actions of their own government. I ask every member of this committee to take a moment and imagine what your reaction would be if this happened in your district instead of Flint. Ask yourselves, would I tolerate it? Of course you wouldn't. You would demand answers. You would demand that we examine the actions of everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. You would hear testimony from everyone involved, and you would obtain documents from everyone involved. The problem is that today we are missing the most critical witness of all, the governor of the state of Michigan, Rick Snyder. He is not here. Governor Snyder was the driving force behind Michigan's emergency manager law, which he signed in 2011 and invoked to take over the city of Flint from his local elected leaders. The governor handpicked appointees to run the city, and they decided to use water from the Flint River. They also led the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, which protects the people of Flint, according to the governor's own task force charged with investigating this crisis. Obviously, Governor Snyder should have to answer for his decisions. We asked the chairman to invite him today, but he would not. We asked the chairman to give us a date in the future for a hearing with Governor Snyder, but he would not. We asked the chairman to send the same kind of document request to Governor Snyder that he sent to the EPA, but he would not do that either. We want answers from everybody, from the EPA straight on down to the local officials. That's the way we get to the bottom of this crisis. The problem with this approach is that it undermines the credibility of Congress, our committee, and this investigation. That is totally unacceptable to the people of Flint. It should be totally unacceptable to the people of this Congress, and totally unacceptable to the people of the United States of America. As I said before, we are the last line of defense. And certainly we want to hear from the EPA. I want to hear from the EPA. Based on what I've seen, the EPA officials should have moved much more aggressively after they detected their heightened levels of lead. But states are the primary enforcement agencies for the Safe Drinking Water Act, not the EPA. The chairman argues that we should let the state continue its own investigation, but I disagree. The state has failed the people of Flint. Now it's up to us, all of us. And let me be clear. If we act selectively for political reasons, then we become a part of the problem. The information has been brought to us, and we now have a duty to investigate all aspects of the crisis. We simply do not have the right to remain silent. We do not have the right not to act. Government broke it. Government must fix it. And so today, every Democrat on the committee has joined together to sign this letter to the chairman. It invokes our right under the House rules to demand a hearing with witnesses of our choosing. In this letter, we officially request testimony from Governor Snyder and the 3 key emergency managers that he appointed to govern Flint: Kurtz, Jerry Ambrose, and Darnell Earley. I ask that our letter be inserted into the official hearing record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, so ordered.
I ask that that it be inserted into the official hearing record, and our ultimate goal must be to serve the interests of the children and the families of Flint. And so we do not know the full extent of the damage that was caused, but we know it is grave. Today, the committee received a letter from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The letter warned that thousands of children under the age of 6 have now been potentially exposed to lead through the Flint drinking water. The letter says this: as you know, the city of Flint has long been an impoverished community beset by a host of economic and infrastructure hardships. This adversity, coupled with widespread lead exposure, means that Flint's children will require significant help in coping with the impact of lead on their physical and behavioral health and development, their schooling, and much more. End of quote. As I close, Mr. Chairman, it is our job here on this committee and in this Congress to make sure this help is provided to these kids. But, Mr. Chairman, not only to the kids, but to the adults and every citizen of Flint, and to ensure that they are not forgotten after these hearings end. And that is why I say this is not a political issue. This is a moral issue. We have to investigate what happened at all levels, including the state, and then we have to turn to accountability and reform. Last but not least, Mr. Chairman, there's a fellow who had a song that I used to love. He never had any hits in my district, but he sang the song, he said, and his name was Cat Stevens. And Cat Stevens said, "Oh, very young, what will you bring us this time? You're only dancing on this earth for a short time. Oh, very young, what will you leave us this time?" And I've often said that our children are the living messages we send to a future we will never see. The question is what will they leave us? And how will we send them into that future? Will we send them strong? Will we send them hopeful? Will we rob them of their destiny? Will we rob them of their dreams? No, we will not do that. And I am proud of this committee for holding this hearing. We will get to the bottom of this. And as Mr. Walberg said, we will do it in a bipartisan way. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Thank the gentleman. You should have applauded that, but I'll appreciate you listening. So they, all right. Thank you. All right, so we're good now. All right. Thank you. And that's what I love about Mr. Cummings and this committee. We have passionate people on both sides who care deeply about their country, and nobody wants to see this thing happen.